So family, I'm here to give you another update on my tiny house. I put a lot of work into it before I moved in, about a month and a half worth, and I've been living here for about 3 months now. One of the first things I did is I polyurethane my entire house. Anything that's wood got 3 coats of polyurethane or more. So it is a liquid plastic that you can use to coat any raw wood to protect it from moisture and damage. So let me show you what other modifications I made. So we are here at my kitchen. Last time the refrigerator was not in yet. So here's my refrigerator. It is a Parmesan refrigerator and it's actually bigger than I need. Most of the refrigerator part, the bottom section is actually empty. And going across, you have these shelves that I put in. It came with the house, but they wanted me to install it myself based on my preference. So with the help of my friend Charlie, we did. But instead of the wooden brackets that they provided, I bought these metal brackets from Home Depot, and it's much stronger because it uses 3 screws instead of 1. Another modifications I made was I took out the trim on the edge of the countertop. I mean, it looks pretty, but what happens is water will get underneath the trim because they did not put what is it called, silicone. They did not seal it basically, so the water will go underneath and then run down the entire length of my cabinet and drip down to the floor. So that was after a few frustrating times with that happening. I just like, screw it, take it out. Another thing I did was I put in these handles for the drawers in the cabinets, and I put one right there. This is actually not a drawer. This is just strictly for hanging my dish towels. Let's go to the top, which is shelves, my above the window shelves. So I got this shelf from my aunt. She was gonna toss them, but I was like, hey, I can totally use them. So I brought them back, installed it with my friend Charlie, who put in the same Home Depot brackets. And now a lot of things just sits on top. It works well, really great, and it looks good. And this shelf right here, these bookshelves over the so this also custom made shelves. My friend Steven, he's a carpenter, and he helped me measured, cut, and polyurethane these shelves, and I brought them back and just put them on the same Home Depot brackets that I used previously. So I have my closet. Sorry, it's a little bright. So above the closet, there's a lot of just big empty storage spaces, which is actually very valuable in a tiny house. So I put my carry-on and my cat carriers on there, and have this picture that I really like, but I wasn't sure where to put them, so I was just laying them against my carry-on. And then my friend Steven said, why don't we make it into a door, put it on hinges, and that way you don't have to take it down and take it back up every time you need to access those stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So he helped me make this hinges, and now it opens and closes. Let me show you if I can get to it. There we go. So now it opens up, and I can get to my things, and then just closes, and it looks much prettier. Another modifications I made is to the frame of my closet. So I bought these 2 drawers, and they wouldn't all fit at the same time. So it's the reason being is this frame right here is just making it too narrow. So I just cut out the frame, just cut it, took it out, and now it all fits. Alrighty, and also this coat hanger hook. I actually took it out of a old coat hanger that was broken. I took it off and I saved it because I knew one day I was gonna put it in my tiny house, and that was probably like 10 years ago or something like that. I don't know. Another modifications I made, and this is probably one of the biggest ones, is this area, my living area. So you can see it's very, very different from the from the way it was delivered. First of all, this big old glass table is not there. And it had this bench, but this bench had a small desk at the end, kind of goes along like that, and then it's supposed to go up what I'm using as a desk, or go down to make it into like a sleep mode. But the problem is it didn't go up high enough for my thighs to fit comfortably underneath. So out of frustration, I just took it out. And the way that it made the bench was just bad. They just put on two like legs and all this empty space on there, which is not really very good for anything. It's just no shelves or anything like what I wanted. So I just took it out. And then my friend Steven said, well, you know, your dresser, I bet we can cut that in half and you can use it as a bottom of your bench. And I was like, all right, cool. So he told me, got it out, cut it in half. It just saw right through. And I just put the bench top over it. And it actually works out much better than I thought. It's very stable. I stand on it, sit on it, I sleep on it all the time, no problem. And it's not even screwed in, it just sits on top. And then I have all these blankets. I have all these blankets and sheets, and for some reason I love collecting those things, and I have literally no place to put them. So I was like, crap, you know, how am I gonna put the sheets? And then I realized I need a cushion, which I was gonna make for my bench. So instead of making a cushion, I just layer all my blankets up, and then and there's my cushion. And then I have this extra cushion that I have from this old chair. So I took it off the chair and just put it on top. So now it's actually quite comfortable. So my desk, my glass table. So I had this glass table from before. I use it as my desk because it's nice and big. And I was going to get rid of it, but then my friend Steven said, I bet that can fit inside your tiny house. I was like, no way, this thing is huge. He's like, well, let's measure. So we measured, and he's right. So I'm like, okay, I will put this right against the closet, and if it fits. And then I got this, and then move my chair out of the way. And then I got this dresser for my aunt. It was, you know, she was gonna toss it because the drawers was keep on falling off the tracks. And so I was like, no, don't toss it out. Let me take it. I can use it as a workbench in the garage. And she's like, okay. But my friend Steven says, I bet this thing can fit underneath the glass table. I was like, no way, that thing is big and it's so tall. But we measured, and he's right. So now it's underneath. So we got the dresser in here first, and then we'll put the glass table over it. And then we put the glass table. Well, first of all, we did fix the drawer so that it doesn't fall off the tracks anymore, so it actually works. And then we put the glass table over it, and then I realized that I cannot access these top three drawers because the top of the drawer and the bottom of the glass table, there's only about like 1/4 of an inch of space, so I can't even fit my fingers in there. I was like, oh my god. So we laughed for about like five minutes because none of us see that coming. And so let's just cut a hole in front of the drawer. It's fine. So we did. We cut a hole in front of the drawer, and now actually it works really, really well. I have full access to it. It's not a problem. And then after a while, so I have this plastic drawers tower thing over here, and I do need it because I put my pins, stationaries, my work stuff all in there. So the only place that I can fit is here. So I put it there, and then anytime I access these drawers, I will have to take this out. It's on wheels, and then I kind of got sick of pulling this thing out all the time. So I asked Steven we can cut more holes in the 3 remaining drawers, and we did. And so now I can just grab things from inside without having to pull the drawers out. Another modifications I made was right here. I took the right bottom drawer out because I want my cat to have her cat window still. So we took it out, and then there is a wooden bar right here that runs all the way across the bottom of the drawer. And I know that my cat wouldn't be able to get across that bar, so I just cut it off, and then use the wood as a leg for extra support. So now I put cushions underneath, and she can look outside the super bright window. Yeah, and then and here is her scratching log, which I got from my friend Steven. It was just laying around, and I just took it. My cat loves it. Okay, alrighty. So over here is some extra space that I'm not too sure what to do about. So on the bottom, I have my trash. Behind this, my recycling, and then here's just sweet potatoes, garlic, onions. So I thought I'd use the cardboard right now as to see if I like it, and if I like it, I might make a more permanent drawer here. And on top, I still have a lot of space here that I'm not too sure what to do with either. Maybe I make it into a drawer, but right now I have this cardboard box, and I just have miscellaneous junk kind of tossed inside. So let me get you to my other side of my kitchen. So the sun is streaming in, so super bright. So this cabinet is already here, so that was just already here. And these shelves I put in myself with the help of my friend Steven, obviously. I can't do this by myself. He has all the tools. So we just measured and cut up the wood, polyurethane it, and then help me install it onto the walls. And it's spice rack. So the spice rack, I wanted a spice rack because I want a place for all my spices. And he's like, why don't we just make you a spice rack? I was like, cool, all right. It sounds like a very simple project. It is not. It took a lot of fine detail work to make it work. But then he asked me first what kind of wood I want to make it out of. And I said spalted maple because I saw him make a spalted maple countertop for a client. And it looked beautiful, so I wanted the same thing. Spalted maple is a maple wood, white maple that has fungus growing in the wood. So that's what makes the really pretty black line patterns you can see right here. So yeah, so I'm really happy. Happy to, he helped me make this spice rack myself. And then on the bottom of the spice rack, it was just plain wall before, and he's like, why don't we make you another shelf? I'm like, okay. So we took the wall out and put another shelf in, which took forever because there's a lot of unevenness in the back. And one big modifications I made to this part of the kitchen is this drawer right here. Before, there was no drawer. It was just a panel with empty space behind it. And I was just like, why didn't they put a drawer in for me? Because that would have been so helpful. So my friend's like, well, let's make you a drawer then. So he, with his help, and we made a drawer. We put it on tracks with this, it's called soft close track. So now all my cooking stuff is all right in here, and it fits perfectly. I love it. It's so big. close it. The only thing is I think we made it a little tight, so it doesn't close toward the end for some reason. So I had to kind of really squish it in. But it actually works out in my favor right now, because right now my house is slanted. After all the rain and snow, it's actually slanted this way. So if you have water here, you'll run down this way. So if this one wasn't tight closed, the drawer probably just like open like all the time. And then, oh, you can see that I actually have no door on my bathroom because I took it out. It's a bifold door, and I never liked it in the first place, but she kind of forced it on me. And so when I was polyurethaning, I couldn't get behind the door to polyurethane the wood. So I just took it out and I never put it back. And it doesn't really matter because it's just me, so what do I really need a door for? And my kimono, it's not kimono, but just another name for it, it just hangs from the tracks from the door. So my curtain for my shower. And so this is my water heater, and next to it is where I store my water tank. So it's just like a big space underneath, and you can see that's where my water tank is. Let me see if I can sort of shine my light on the situation. So that's where that's the water tank, and then above it, you can sort of see it. I put a shelf in there. It's kind of right there. And that's where I put my tools and stuff like that. And on the bottom is my dresser. Sorry, not dresser. Well, it is a dresser right now, but it's a plastic drawer that I use up as my dresser. And the shelf right here, which I had since vet school, and it actually fits there perfectly, so it's in. On the other side, I put up these towel hangers right there. I have two of them because one of them is for towels, the other one is for hanging clothes that's not clean but not quite dirty yet. So I just hang them up because I can't just toss them on the floor because I have no floor space. And then over here is my is another shelf that I got off of a street. Somebody was throwing away, so I just picked it up, and then I sanded it and poly it, and now I'm using it as more clothes storage space. So the reason why I store my clothes in the bathroom is because that's where I use them. So you can see this mat right here. So after I shower, I stand here and I have access to all my clothes within arm's reach right there. Maybe just like 2 steps, and that's actually real easy. I love it. Oh, I want to show you one more thing. Here is my toilet paper shelf. This little narrow space right here, it's really not good for much, so I just put a shelf on the bottom, and here's like a store my toilet paper. Okay, and last, well, not the last thing, but the last thing downstairs is this really nice heater. So if you look back in the video, you can see that the opening wasn't this big. The opening was, let me just back up, was probably like right there. It goes down like right there. And what happened was they wanted, they were gonna put up a heater outside in front of the stairs, but they couldn't make it work because they have to pipe the vent through all the space out to the wall, and they couldn't make it work, so they delivered the house without heater. So they just let me kind of figure out what I want to do. And thank God for my friend Steven. He's like, you need a heater. I'm like, yes, I know. So he's like, why don't we just put it underneath your stairs, and then we will line the area with sheetrock, which is non-combustible. So you can see it's not painted; it's just sheetrock. So with his help, this part I could not have done it myself because it involves working with propane lines and everything and drilling a hole through the wall, which I was not happy about, but it has to be done for the vent pipe to go through. And that took probably majority of the day to do, but it's done. I have wonderful heat in my house. I'm never cold. And then perhaps next year, well, this year in the summertime, I can paint this to whatever color I like. And here, I mean, there's a lot of this stairs. Just honestly was not what I envisioned. I imagined shelves and stuff, and they just give me this big empty space, which is okay if you need the space for it. So right now what I have is let me get this thing so you can see. So right now this has become my miscellaneous storage and shoe storage. And my turbo oven kind of sits here. And I put up these screws onto the walls of the stairs so I can just hang my shoes on there. So it kind of, it works out. But maybe in the future I might change it up a little bit and have the space, between the wall and the stairs, so I stuck more shoes on there. So alrighty.